Welcome to the Honest Perfume Reviewer. Today I've tried 4 new fragrances that I'm going to review for you. One of them is really good. One is good, but I won't be getting a full bottle. Not interested in it, but I'm curious about the house. And then I have 2 fragrances that are definitely not for me, but I just found them really interesting to try. And why don't I start like from the bottom? The one that is really, really difficult for me. That I tried this morning, is called Snowy Owl, and it's from the house of Zoologist. All I have is this little sample, and that's all I will be getting from this particular fragrance. I'm not really super familiar with Zoologist. I've tried some of their fragrances, but I've never really found one that I want a full bottle of. The best one so far is Squid. I was for a while looking for, a really good marine scent. That one's still a little bit of a challenge to me, but I think like maybe next year perhaps. I'm not quite there yet, but I did find that beautiful. But I still found like it was hard for me to wear it. I had a sample of a fragrance called Unda from Philipo Sorcinelli that was a beautiful marine scent. That one I could wear, that one I could buy. Those aren't available in Sweden. I would have to, go online and get it somewhere. And I still haven't. So, but maybe I will. But I'd like to try it again. All I had was a little sample, and it's quite pricey. So, anyway, Snowy Owl is a really kind of cold, cold fragrance, just like the name kind of says, Snowy Owl. So they've used. First, I'll tell you what it smells like when you first spray it on. It is horrible. It is so bitter and industrial smelling. It smells kind of like rubber and like workshop and really bitter. I think the bitterness comes from maybe mate. It's, that drink. It's kind of like a tea type drink. They drink in South America a lot. It also has galbanum, which is also bitter. And then in the top, there's like mint, cologne, which is like a synthetic aquatic kind of fragrant note that reminds a little bit of watermelon. I can't pick that out really, that it smells like watermelon, but someone on Fragrantica wrote that it smells like rotten cucumbers, and I smiled when I read that because I can kind of get that too, but it just is. And it's really the oak moss. It has oak moss in the bottom. It has all kinds of other notes as well. But that was something that I really can get. It smells wet and kind of it has a kind of a soil-like quality. So if you're into earthy fragrances, maybe this is for you. It has musk. It has snowdrop. Like the plant, the flower, snowdrops. Lily of the valley. A hint of coconut. Some on Fragrantica say that actually that is quite prominent. To my nose, it isn't. There's just a hint, so that's not the problem here. There's olibanum, like incense. It has some civet. I can get a little bit of animalic touches, and tonka, but cedarwood. It's really bad. I mean, okay, so the opening is like really, really bad and bitter, and then after like 10 or 20 minutes, it becomes, at least I can stand it. And then it becomes a little bit pleasant, maybe after like the half an hour, 40-minute mark. And it's just kind of musky and a little bit cold and refreshing. But with it, I think maybe you can feel like the cedar wood in the base there. It's fresh, but like the opening is so bad that I could like never, ever buy a bottle of this. It's not for me. Okay, on to the next one. This one is called, I don't know if you can see it here. It's by Hiram, from the house Hiram Green, and it's called Vivacious. I don't know if you pronounce it Vivacious, maybe Vivacious. These are all handcrafted and entirely natural according to the card. So I guess this house has been a little bit difficult for me. I have one fragrance from this house, and it's Arbolé. And that took me a long time to like. Now I love it, but from the beginning it was like, oh, what is this? I thought it smelled like cough medicine. That's a great patchouli scent though. If you just wait for the dry down and the vanilla tones come out, that's beautiful. This one, I'm just not there yet. I can definitely smell like the DNA. I've tried Slow Dive, which is a really strong kind of heavy honey fragrance. This one has a little bit of that vibe, but I don't like this. I don't like Slow Dive either. And they both have a little bit of Bengal Rouge from Papillon Artisan Perfumes, if you're familiar with that fragrance. Kind of like a honey nectarish kind of tone. It only lists 5 notes: violet, carnation, orris, amber, and bergamot. And honestly, I cannot pick out a single of those notes in this Vivacious. What I get is kind of like a jasmine feeling. Sometimes like jasmine will kind of flip over and become like animalic, like it almost smells like cat pee, kind of that vibe. Someone on Fragrantica had written hay and mimosa. That I could have imagined was in here because I get that kind of vibe. But most of all, I have to say it kind of goes sour on my skin. It's like it gives me a sour feeling, kind of like Cocoa EDT from Chanel. I get that same kind of sourness. I'm just going to spray it just to remind myself. Oh, yeah. It's not powdery, which I would have thought, you know, because of the violet. It's like, it has a kind of an oak moss, earthy undertone. A little bit kind of like that wet forest bed, kind of, it's like a wet kind of fragrance. I don't know. There's just something about this. I don't like it at all. A lot of people are talking about that it is very Guerlain-like. So if you're familiar with that house and really like it, maybe check this out. I'm just not. I don't think I'll ever go for this one. Sometimes I get the feeling that it might grow on me, and I might like that wetness. But like that oak moss carrot seed feeling, when that gets too strong, like Iris Silver Mist by Serge Lutens, I'm just not into that. At least not yet. Okay, so I have 2 more fragrances here, and they're both from the house of Ormonde Jayne, which is a nice British house. This one I really like. It's called Tolu, and it is a kind of a floral amber, which is more like a little bit more feminine leaning than maybe like a real resinous, smoky amber, like Amber 114, or what else can I think of? Like the Serge Lutens one, Amber Sultan. This is more like, it has more floral notes. It's, let's see, I wrote it down here. It has Tolu, of course, so it gives that balsamic feeling. It has some incense, but it also has lily of the valley, orchid, rose, clary sage. It reminds a little bit of Bijou Romantique from Etat Libre d'Orange that I think I've reviewed that. I've reviewed that on my channel before. There's some overlapping notes. It's really nice. This is really nice. I only have this travel size, but when I'm out of this, I could see myself getting a full bottle of it. But since I have so many fragrances, my travel size lasts forever as well. And then I have this last one. It's called Sampaquita. It's the wrong side. No, there it is. Sampaquita. It's an EDP. It's kind of a classic Chypre, which means that it has bergamot in the top, florals in the middle, and kind of an oak moss bottom. And it's not too oak mossy, but it's just, I don't know, it didn't really excite me. It has like water lily, lily of the valley, jasmine, rose, and then it has musk and this oak moss bottom and some vetiver, magnolia, grass, lychee, and bergamot in the top. I don't know, it's kind of a, anybody would like it. It's beautiful. I can feel, I mean, I sprayed it here just a little while ago. I get some cedar wood from it too. It's kind of a little bit pencil shavings, kind of like a light woodiness. It's a really nice kind of basic fragrance, but I don't think I would pay this kind of prices for a basic fragrance. So yeah, that was my thought on Sampaquita. I just, you know, have a lot of samples just kind of coming through here, and I use them. I try to get an opinion about them, and then I pass them on. I never collect samples. Like, I don't have whole buckets of samples. I just have like maybe 10 kind of going, and then I make sure that I'm always passing them on to people, because I just feel like I don't like them laying around. Other people can enjoy trying something new instead. And I keep, of course, the ones that I really like, and then maybe I'll buy a bottle, or I'll look around for them secondhand, perhaps. So I kind of want to be an influencer that like wants people to consume less, or I want them to spend less money and buy less full bottles, and maybe, you know, try more, sample more, swap more, try and store more, but don't buy everything that you find beautiful. It isn't even possible, because even if you know, you're able to do it financially or whatever, you have the space in your house, there are just not enough days. There are not enough hours in the day, and there's not enough skin so you can cover your skin with different fragrances. So basically it's just bound capital standing there collecting dust. Almost all your fragrances you will not wear the next day, right? So I'm really trying to keep my collection really small. I'm at 50 bottles now. I want to get a few new fragrances, and I have like a handful that I need to let go. But I'm really going to try to let them go. I'm going to put the prices low, or I'm going to maybe give some away, because I do believe in rotation. And people, I give away samples. I would never like sell samples. And people give me samples. So I have this kind of like circular thing going on all the time. So I always have enough to try. I get discovery sets sometimes, and like from this shop or from this Swedish company called Sniff, I got this discovery set, and I'm kind of trying through that. And I always have stuff to do. I don't need to go out and spend money on samples, and I don't need to hold on to everything. So when I know what I think, I just pass it on. And actually, this Sampaquita, it's the second time I've tried it. So it kind of came around again, although I hadn't asked for it. And I know I was kind of like, I think I liked it better then, last time, like a year ago. But now my taste has evolved, and now I kind of find this a little bit too mainstream. It's too easy. I just kind of feel that this is very unisex, though. I know Chypres are traditionally was like a female kind of note structure. Kind of like Fougère is kind of a masculine note structure, but I find that Chypres they can go masculine or feminine or be unisex or whatever. It's just kind of a way to describe a fragrance. And this is like it's in the same ballpark as like Gris Dior. And that I also find a little bit boring. It's a little bit cold and elegant and just kind of, I think I prefer like warm, oriental, spicy, exciting fragrances. I mean, like Tolu, I love that. Than these kind of elegant florals. Yeah, it doesn't excite me, it doesn't inspire me, but it is a nice house. I want to try more from them. We have one shop here in Stockholm that does, they're open only weekends, but where I can try a few of them. They have like 8, but I know that Ormonde has a lot more to offer. I just haven't, had the chance to try them yet. So I've got a lot on my list. That was all for today.